Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a wreck on Odom Street and Ben Wilson leaves one man dead. And the November 5th election is weeks away. 25 News Now caught up with the interim Democratic Party chair. Plus, a Texas court granted death row inmate Robert Robertson a historic stay of execution.
We'll be taking a look at your weather. The weekend is looking pretty good. Problem is we haven't had any rain in a long time. Will the temperature stay on the mild side? I'll have that coming up in a moment.
And Victoria East, they lose a tough game last night versus Wagner High School. I'll talk about this game and more here in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Trenton Whiting. Dawn and Shauna have the night off. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office reports a potential homicide overnight on Thursday. The Sheriff's Office launched a joint investigation into an incident that led to a death near Edna on Highway 59. We've reached out for more information on the incident. The Texas Rangers are now investigating. At around 1 o'clock this afternoon, Victoria officers responded to a single vehicle crash in the 2700 block of Odom Street. Investigators say a GMC truck was heading south on Ben Wilson when it veered off the road for an unknown reason. The truck hit a tree and then a home. A 63-year-old man who was driving the truck was pronounced dead at the scene. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Early voting kicks off on Monday, October 21st and ends on Friday, November 1st. Victoria residents can head over to the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center to cast their vote early. To view all early voting locations by county, come to crossroadstoday.com. And that's going to lead us to our viewer poll for tonight. Will you be voting early? Yes or no? Voting on election day or not voting at all? We want to hear from you. It looks like 85% will be voting early. 1% will not be voting early. 11% will be voting on election day and 3% are not going to participate at all in this year's election. But we still want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate. We'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 10. The general election is almost here. One race getting voters to the polls in our area is the U.S. congressional seat in District 27. Republican incumbent Michael Cloud faces Democrat Tanya Lloyd. Victoria County Democratic Party Chair Alan Bassam says he expects to see Democrats showing up to the polls this year.
Often we focus on the national election, which is certainly important, but our lives are greatly influenced by what happens where we live, and having those Democratic candidates where we live, I think makes a huge difference.
Alan Bassam is married to the District 30 state representative candidate Stephanie Bassam. She's running as a Democrat. The race closer to home is Victoria County Commissioner Precinct 1, where Democrat incumbent Danny Garcia faces Republican candidate Kenneth Wells. The Victoria ISD continues to provide information on the upcoming voter approval tax rate election. The VATRE will increase the school tax rate to also increase teacher pay. There are several information meetings for next week. On Monday, October 21st, is the start of early voting. The district will present their plan at the Howell Middle School Library. Then on Tuesday, they'll meet at the Rowland Elementary School Library. Their last presentation of the week will be on Thursday at the De Leon Elementary School Library. Each meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. Now let's take a first look at your forecast. Now here's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, things are looking real nice for our football Friday night. The entire eastern side of the country having clear and blue weather. On the western side of the country, a couple of Pacific storms. One of those may get very close to us in the next few days. We'll be talking more about that and taking a look at the tropics as well. All that coming up in just a moment. Trenton, back to you.
Thank you, Mac. Law enforcement has ended its search operation for a missing woman at the county landfill. Homicide detectives are searching for evidence in the disappearance of 51-year-old Suzanne Simpson, who vanished on October 6th. Her husband, 53-year-old Brad Simpson, is in custody on a family violence charge in connection with her disappearance. A neighbor heard the couple arguing and screaming from a wooded area behind their home. For 4 days, police searched the Bexar County landfill, but haven't revealed what they were looking for or why their investigation led them there. Though the landfill search has ended, the investigation is still ongoing. An unprecedented development overnight for a Texas man on death row and a shaken baby case. Lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle have been fighting to stop his execution, which was planned for last night. They've succeeded in pausing the execution, but what happens next remains unclear. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuji.
Praise God, he claimed his innocence. Death row inmate Robert Robertson has more time to plead for clemency. That's after the Texas Supreme Court granted a last-minute stay of execution last night. The court isn't explaining its reasoning, but the legal maneuvers leading up to the stay are historic. State lawmakers subpoenaed Robertson to try to save his life.
I look forward to welcoming Robert to his Texas house, to his Texas Capitol on Monday.
Robertson's future remains uncertain. A lower court judge could still reschedule his execution date, but supporters hope to use this time to argue on his behalf.
We believe this to be an innocent man where the facts have not come out, and we're hoping this hearing will give that opportunity for the people of Texas to finally hear the facts.
Robertson was convicted of murdering his 2-year-old daughter more than 20 years ago. His attorneys say this would have been the first U.S. execution relying on allegations of shaken baby syndrome. They argue the girl died of other medical issues, and some powerful people agree. In this letter, 86 bipartisan state lawmakers beg for clemency. In this statement last night, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor pushes for a review of the evidence. She writes that Robertson has made a serious showing of actual innocence.
Someone finally listened to us and listened to Robert.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against a Dallas pediatrician, accusing her of violating state law by providing gender transitioning treatments to at least 21 teenage patients. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the presidential race tightens as Trump and Harris campaign. And the FDA expands a listeria recall of meat and poultry products nationwide.
These sandwiches.
Busy day in Michigan for the presidential campaigns. Recent polling shows there's no clear leader in the state, as both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump work to appeal to voters out there.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are locked in a tight race for Michigan's 15 electoral votes.
We got to win this election.
Both candidates are focusing in on this crucial battleground state Friday. Harris has appearances in Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Oakland County.
She has to make sure that she talks about what she's going to do for her term in 4 years, what she's going to continue to do in terms of focusing on economic growth for everyone.
In recent days, the vice president has aggressively targeted Trump's rhetoric on the trail.
The American people are exhausted with his gaslighting. Exhausted with his gaslighting.
Trump is participating in a roundtable in Auburn Hills in Oakland County and a rally in Detroit.
I think his message is, under Republican policies, you'll do better, and under Democratic policies, you got decline. It's a pretty simple message, and that's really his message for a lot of urban areas in the country.
It's the former president's first trip back to the Motor City since he insulted it during an event last week.
The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president.
Back in 2016, Trump won Michigan, helping him secure the White House. But President Joe Biden won the state in 2020.
The FDA is issuing a new listeria warning as they expand a recall of ready-to-eat meat and poultry products. Nearly 12 million pounds of sandwiches and wraps made by Bruce Pack, based in Oklahoma, are being pulled due to concerns that they may contain listeria bacteria. Several charter schools may have received these items, but no schools in the USD, a national lunch program, are affected. Bruce Pack products were also distributed to retailers like Aldi and 7-Eleven. Listeria can be especially harmful to older adults, pregnant women, and those with weakened immune systems. Symptoms include fever, muscle aches, and loss of balance. To see the full list of recalled products, visit fda.gov. Boo! Did I scare you? But hopefully you could scare us, so give us your screeching Halloween spirit and float on over to crossroadstoday.com. Enter your costume in our Boo-tastic Halloween costume contest. Submit your photos to the contest page on crossroadstoday.com now through October 25th. Then head back and vote for your favorite until October 30th. We'll showcase the picture with the most votes on 25 News Now on Halloween night.
That'll be fun. And folks, we're getting closer and closer to that feel of fall. Pretty good looking afternoon and evening today, although temperatures will stay fairly close to the mark for today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, after that, it starts warming up just a tad. 80 degrees right about now. Our high got up to 86 this afternoon. Only problem I have is that we haven't had any rain in almost 25 days. So we'll be taking a look at what to expect for the next 7 coming up in just a moment.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We learn about Golden Crescent moms and quilts for hurricane victims. We hear from the Dorothy O'Connor Pet Adoption Center, and we also learn about the voter-approved tax rate election.
And so the school board in August set a tax rate that's 9 cents higher than the law allows, which requires voters to approve that tax rate.
Join 25 News Now, the Victoria Advocate, and the Victoria Chamber of Commerce for a political forum with the candidates for State Representative District 30. Wednesday, October 23rd, 5:30 p.m., UHV Walker Auditorium. Hear from Democrat Stephanie Bassam and Republican A.J. Louderback as they vie for your vote.
Well, good evening, everyone. Of course, the big deal around Texas on a Friday night is football, and we have our game of the week here, Hallettsville Sacred Heart versus Shiner St. Paul at Brahma Field. As you can see, it's going to be fair skies and winds coming out of the southeast 10 to 15. Game time temperature about 76 and ending at about 70. Not a bad looking night. In fact, very nice. You might have seen more and more clouds roll back into the area today. That frontal system that blew through, well, it fell apart and all that moisture slowly coming back in. It'll be a good weekend, but you'll see a little bit more cloud cover, and there's that much of a chance of a little shower or two. This time of year, I start ignoring the tropics and I start watching the northwest, because that's where the Pacific storms comes from. There you see the first storm of the season bringing snow to the Rockies in Colorado. That storm is going to get close to us, but then it turns up and it goes away. But there's another one behind it, and it's going to be a long procession of storms over the next, 3 or 4 months of the winter months. Now, the winds being out of the southeast also will bring us enough moisture to see 1 or 2 little sprinkle showers, but these are not going to be significant. If you catch one, it's going to last maybe 10 minutes. You also will notice the big high pressure is giving us that easterly wind, and that thing is so big and so strong that it is keeping the tropics away from our area. So we can say goodbye to summertime. We can almost say goodbye to the tropical season. We have a couple of systems out there, but they're really not going to have a chance against that big ridge. You can see the sprinkles actually occurring right across South Texas. Nothing significant, just a 1 or 2 in the afternoon hours caused by heating, and of course the return of the Gulf moisture. Our temperature tomorrow, right on the money at 84 degrees. That's where we're supposed to be. So we're doing good, and much of North Texas doing great. Temperatures only in the 70s. Well, here's system number 1. This one's going to produce a lot of rain for the Yucatan Peninsula and Central America. System number 2 is a very interesting one. You're going to watch it probably over the weekend if you catch the show. It is a tropical wave. It is going to be bringing rain to much of the Caribbean islands, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and over into the Dominican Republic. But over the next couple of days, it's going to roll, runs into the high pressure, falls apart as the top of that is going to get sheared off, and it's no longer going to be much of anything to worry about. Out in the Atlantic, well, it's getting a little quieter after a couple of very busy weeks. So for us, we're taking a look at your 7-day forecast in just a moment. Let me tell you that first of all, tomorrow in Port Lavaca, going to be a terrific day. Your Saturday high temperature, 83, not bad at all. Your Cuero high temperature, about 85 tomorrow. Looking good for tonight football and looking good for tomorrow. I don't know, just hanging out in the backyard, something like that. Looking at the next 7 days, we have just a sprinkled chance on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Other than that, I can't say we've got any significant rainfall in sight. We are looking at temperatures to slowly climb from where we are now back up to about near 90 for the early part of next week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your cell phone. And now here's Trenton.
Thank you, Mac, and I love seeing great weather for a Football Friday. You know who also loves Football Fridays? Mr. Max Williams, who's coming up with What's in Sports.
Yeah, Trent, it looks like a nice night, right? Got a nice breeze, a little chill, but, we got some great Week 8 action. We're going to talk about some of the games that are happening tonight here for Week 8 of High School Feeds and more in sports. All right, everyone, we officially have made it here to week 8 of high school football. We got a lot of great games on slate. We have Shiner St. Paul versus Hallettsville Sacred Heart, Cuero versus Sinton, Edna versus London, Bernie versus Victoria West, and also Floresville Tigers. They're batting the El Campo Rice Birds. And sports reporter Zach Brown has a preview of the game and what to expect here tonight. And hey, again, looking at it for this game again, for El Campo in this one, they got a big time matchup to look out for. They're going to try to get back on the win track here in this game. And again, you look at this team, they take on Floresville, a tough team for sure. And keep going there all the way down. And man, look at this for El Campo. This is a team that's going to be a top team to watch out here for the playoffs. I mean, they're one of the top teams right now in 4A right there at the moment. And this team is going to be watch out because Floresville, they're not so good right now. They're literally 1-5 here this season. And it's going to be literally tough for them to try to keep going on this side of the ball. And that's going to have to be huge for this team. So I expect El Campo to take care of business here tonight over again Floresville. But we'll see what will happen here on to the next game. Now, how about here another game that happened here from yesterday here from this one? Again, what about Victoria East? They played again last night versus San Antonio Wagner in a huge district game. And our reporter's Ray Robinson was at the game here for this game. Again, these games went back and forth here for both of these teams. And it looked like it, I mean, we're both sides and then actually don't have the game there yourself, but we know what's going to happen from looking at the highlights ahead of time, right? So it was a turnover mistake there, right, by Wagner, and then they got on the board first. They tried to compete. It went back and forth this game, right? But at the end of the day, if we go to the final score here in this one, it was a tough one here for Victoria East. They lost this game 42-28 there, and tough one there, Victoria East. They're now 2-5 there overall, and again, just 1-2 now there in district play. They get to be back home versus Bernie champion next week, and so Trenton, this is again crazy here for football time, right? We got a lot of games, a lot of different things that are happening right now for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, Max, and we're always excited for Friday football. Got a lot of good games going on and can't wait to see some of these football games coming up. And I'm sure you're very excited to be covering some of these high-ticket games. So we'll be back in just a moment.
All right, apologies there, right, guys? We thought we were going to have that package there for sports, but now we got to hear for Zach Brown. Now he's got a little preview for us here for this El Campo game here tonight.
Well, thanks, Max. Here at Memorial Stadium, the West Warriors try to bounce back against a tough Bernie Greyhound team, but up the road in El Campo, the Rice Birds enter this week winners of their last 4 ball games. Only 1 loss on the season so far, and they've been dominant on both sides of the ball. They say defense wins championships, and for the top 10 ranked Rice Birds, they have allowed just under 10 points per game so far this season, including pitching 2 shutouts, most recently last week. And on that offensive side of the ball, they've been scoring at will, averaging just over 41 points per game this year. They are plus 190 in the scoring department, and we should see a similar game here tonight against Floresville, who are fresh off a 73-7 loss in Bay City. Now they've got Ridge Spinrath under center at quarterback. He's been unreal, completing 71% of his passes with a 135 quarterback rating, and of course the talented running back Camden Phillips averaging over 100 yards per game. El Campo trying to start the year in district playoff at 2-0, and as for the West Warriors, they try to bounce back against Bernie, who took a tough loss last week against Alamo Heights. Both games set for a 7:30 kickoff, and as always, the highlights will be on Crossroads Football Live at 10:35. Reporting from Memorial Stadium, Zach Brown, KVUE-TV 25 News Now Sports.
All right, thanks there to Zach. I mean, that's a great game, right? It's going to be a great one to watch for sure there, Trenton. I think that's one should be taken care of, but should be a fun one to watch here. A great week 8, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the sports, Max. A crossing guard in Pasadena, California is known for spreading joy in her daily interactions. Betty Miller has become a beacon of light in her community, one dance move at a time. Her community says her happiness is contagious. Every weekday morning and afternoon, parents and students look forward to crossing her path. Community members say the 74-year-old also gives rides to moms who need it when the bus is late. Now that is a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Love to hear that, honestly. I know I was late for the bus a few times, so it would have been nice to get a little bit of a ride on my own. But thank you so much for joining us. We hope you'll join us for tonight, 25 News Now at 10 and CFL at 10:35.